Hi there, it's Tamara Doris, your Sacramento real estate professional and your Sacramento real estate professor. And today I want to talk about something that may be something that you think, she's nuts. But I just ask you to hear me out because there's a lot of research and a lot of established documented cases where this has been, researched and looked into. So it's based on truth, whether we want to admit it or not. And that truth is that real estate is largely emotional. Now, you may say to me, oh, no, Tamara. I am basing everything on logistics. I'm an analytical minded person. I look at numbers. I crunch numbers. I'm logical. I have experience, blah, 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 blah. And I get that. And I'm definitely not discounting that. And I like that you have that. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to certain things, it evokes our emotional triggers. Now, when you're a buyer, you are looking to make a really great deal. You want to get the home of your dreams for a really great price. And when you're a seller, you want to make a profit on the asset that you have been lovingly maintaining for who knows how long. Already, we have the ingredients for conflict. Emotional conflict, right? So when we have emotions involved, the buyer wanting to save money and make sure that they're getting a good deal and not getting, taken advantage of, and the seller wanting to make sure that they're getting their profits that they have invested so heavily in over the years, you automatically have set up a paradigm that there's going to be some emotional tension. And even if the buyer comes in with an offer that's fair and the seller accepts it, and you're like, okay, this is going to be great, there's still opportunity for the inspections. That's where most of the next emotional opportunity and outburst will come. The buyers will get scared. They'll see all these things wrong with the property. The sellers will be insulted and feel attacked because their home is an extension of them. And it's like the buyer is saying, ooh, your home isn't good enough because it has a leak here or there, right? And so now you've got two people who are very emotionally unstable. There, I said it. I'm not trying to insult anyone at all. I'm not trying to call anyone out on their ethics or their dignity. But I'm letting you know, almost 30 years in the real estate business, I have seen this time and time and time again. And one of the reasons that I think agents who are really good is because they understand the emotions involved. I often joke that my psychology degree comes more in handy in real estate than it ever did when I was doing counseling and consulting. Because it's true, we get triggered and we don't even realize when we're in the midst of it until afterwards. And then we can look back and we can go, yeah, that I kind of overreacted. And we might not even ever admit it, right? I mean, I don't like to admit when I overreacted, but I do sometimes, and you do too. Everybody does. But having an agent who understands this and who understands the different components who can distinguish this is not fair from this is probably fair, but it doesn't feel fair. And I want you to get right in between there, right in between stimulus and response is probably the truth. And listen, when I'm your agent, I 100% am advocating on your behalf. And it's okay. We throw temper tantrums sometimes. We get mad, and I get it, and it's okay. But I'm here to help you understand the difference between an emotional reaction that probably isn't appropriate for the situation versus when someone is really trying to pull one over on you. Because I think it's really important. And why is it important? Well, if you're a seller and you get offended or feel insulted by something that the buyer does, says, or asks for, and then you let your anger or your feeling of being offended take over and say, forget it, I don't want to sell them the house, I'm mad at them. And yeah, you can do that, and I'll say, okay, but I'll also say, are you sure? Should we talk about this? Because what I don't want, and this is where I keep everyone accountable, including myself, what I don't want is I don't want for you to get angry and feel offended and throw a good transaction away. And then 2 months later, wonder, why didn't you take that offer? You should have taken that offer. You could have bent a little bit, right? Same thing with buyers. You find a home you really love, but maybe over $2,000 or something really insignificant in the scheme of things. It's insignificant. And you walk away from that house because your pride, our egos get in the way. You felt offended. And so you walk away and it's 3, 2, 4 months later and you still don't have your dream house. And that was your dream house. So I want you to understand, I'm not here trying to give you a psychology degree. I'm here trying to help you understand that your emotions are probably one of the most important components for negotiations. And that's where I come in. I have the ability to rise above the emotions, right? I know it's not my money. I know it's not my house, but I'm a professional and I'm skilled in understanding where the emotions and the logic meet and help you find that middle spot so that when you throw a deal away or when you accept a deal, when you write an offer, when you don't write an offer, you're doing it based on sound logic and not your emotions that you just don't understand have been bubbling up from some past event, right? We don't want that. That's not the way to go. There's a gentleman, Chris Voss is his name, and he wrote a book called something like Never Meet in the Middle or something like that. And he's a world famous hostage negotiator. And it's really interesting when you read that, you understand that, and he tells you 100% that what happens with people in tense situations, and real estate gets about as tense as it goes, except for hostages, right? He tells you that people are operating completely from their animal brain, completely from an emotional basis. And you may think that's okay, but like I said, at the end of the day, I don't want you to regret choices you made, actions you took or did not take based on emotions that just filled your body with stress hormones and you're just like, I don't care, I hate them, right? So it's really, really important to understand that your emotions are going to play a much larger role in your real estate transaction than you currently might be aware of, and that a lot of the things that will come up are unconscious. They're unconscious. 95% of our thinking is unconscious. So make sure when you hire a real estate agent, whether you're in Sacramento or not, make sure when you hire your real estate agent, you hire someone who has emotional intelligence, someone who understands not just how to crunch numbers and do P&L sheets and all of the things with the bottom line, but someone who also understands the emotional intelligence of the buyer so that we can best approach and negotiate to get you the most money. Or if you're the buyer, how to understand what the seller's thinking so that we can negotiate most effectively. I think that's important. Click below, get one of my free goodies, and call me if you're in the Sacramento area, and let's talk. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye for now.